this video, we're going to go ahead and cover tile and how to look for it using the AGMRI platform. I'm currently using the web-based platform. We also offer a video that shows you how to look for it using the app and or the iPad. Like I said, if you want to use the AGMRI app itself. Some of the views and the way it looks is slightly different between the two platforms, which is why we have the two examples. So feel free to reference either, whatever you're comfortable with or whatever you like to use the most. But for the sake of this video, like I said, we're going to take a look at the web-based platform. So two things you want to consider is the image layer you're going to use, as well as the time of year when looking for tile. The time of year is particularly important just because in the earlier flights, that mid-April to mid-May timeframe, it's going to come through the imagery a little bit clear just because there's not a significant amount of biomass out in the field quite yet. The next thing you want to do is consider the image layer. Now before I do that, I'm going to quickly hop over to the top right to the three dots and use that compare side-by-side tool. The reason I'm doing this is I'm going to use a couple different image layers to go ahead and look for tile, and it's easier to compare them side by side and look at two different image layers at the same time to again just kind of help me confirm what I'm seeing out in the field and whether or not it's actually tile or not. So on the left hand side, I'm going to go ahead and keep this aerial image up. And then on the right hand side, I am going to overlay the topography layer. Now the reason I'm going to go ahead and start with the topography layer on the right hand side and the aerial on the left is what I want to make sure is when looking at these lines going across the field, I want to make sure that on the right hand side in this topography layer, what I'm seeing is not some sort of, ditch or a waterway or significant elevation change that is naturally present as opposed to, these man-made lines, of course, which would be tile in this example. That is just a quick little tip again, because as you can see, this could easily be mistaken for tile in your respective field, when in fact it may just be some sort of, like I said, terrain feature, elevation change, ditch, waterway, etc. The next layer I'm going to go ahead and use is that thermal layer. So with the thermal layer, it is important to go ahead and check this just because with early season rainfall, as that groundwater accumulates, there tends to be a significant enough temperature difference between the groundwater and the soil, whether it's warmer or colder, so it will typically show those tile lines clearly as well. In this example, that groundwater is a little bit warmer. As you can see, it's showing that it is this red color in this example. Again, just kind of highlighting where those tile lines are, showing that groundwater is a little bit warmer than the surrounding soil temperature. Now the last little thing I'm going to go ahead and do is head back to just the single image. And what you can do is when looking at the imagery, if you do identify tile in your field and you want to mark it, so then you can take a look when you're out in the field, you can always use the scouting tools in the bottom right hand corner. So clicking on the binoculars to go ahead and drop yourself a pin. So what you can do is, for example, we'll use this free draw. Say I want to look at this line and, take a look when I'm out in the field. You can always just plot yourself a point, and then you can, let's say for this example, just to make it easy, we're going to say this is a cornfield. You can go ahead and drop yourself a scouting pin. In this example, we'll say irrigation. You can drop yourself a little note, hey, tile picked up on the imagery. And then that way, if you were to save it in your field, the plotted points would remain there, and then you would know exactly where to go when you're out in the field. So that concludes this video on how to pick up tile. Again, just a quick little tutorial. Keep in mind the time of year that you're looking. So again, those earlier season flights tend to be a little bit easier. And then again, the image layers, the aerial, the topography, and the thermal layer, again, just tend to show it a little bit easier. This was a web-based example. Feel free to reference the other videos which cover the app-based examples. Thank you.